The road to Takeover starts here, live at the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida, a show that will be held in Brooklyn. Oh, get over it. Hello all NXT fans and welcome to another video with me, Mike McRock, one half of the MRB Wrestling Review Show. The road to NXT Takeover is now officially underway, and we kick off the show with Finn Balor in an interview segment, and now he is the new NXT champion. He talks about his history. It's saying that it was finally worth it, finally getting that shot and winning the NXT Championship in Japan. And they also talk about the rematch that Finn Balor is going to have against Kevin Owens in Brooklyn on the NXT Takeover 2-hour special event. And he puts over Kevin Owens pretty well. So I thought, Finn Balor in this promo segment actually came off pretty good. I think that he may not be the best talker. Sometimes it comes off a little bit scripted, but I think he's doing okay as a talker. When you talk about guys that have the full package, I think when it comes to his entrance, it's really good. His in-ring ability and his presence is good, but there's always room to improve there. As a performer in the ring, doing more gimmicky things in the ring as the Demon. But as a talker, I think he's doing not half bad. I hope, that Finn Balor does more promo segments leading up to the 2-hour special event with Kevin Owens. And what I like is that, they gave Finn Balor this moment here in this first segment because of what's to come in the last segment, which will be a contract signing involving Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, which I will talk about later on in this review. So now we get into the first match of the show, and that was the first of two Divas matches right here on NXT, and the first one comes to us from Eva Marie going one-on-one with Cassie, and going into this match, first they had the backstage interview with Eva Marie. It said that she's going to open up the fans' eyes and that they'll like what they see. So how did Eva Marie do in this match? Well, I will tell you this, there's always room for improvement. And I'm not 100% sold on Eva Marie coming out of this match. Maybe not even half sold. Maybe a bit of a quarter. I think she has a long way to go. And like I said, there's always room for improvement. I think that when it comes to her in-ring ability as a performer and a wrestler, there were moments where I thought that she was looking at the camera and saying, hey, I'm doing an armbar. Look at me. I'm doing something. Instead of actually trying to put pressure on the arm and making it look legit like she's doing an armbar. Yeah, I'm applying an armbar. It was just like, she was winking at the camera. I thought that was a little off. And her finishing maneuver, the sliced bread that she used, I like how she took her time with it, because you don't want to rush into that move and all of a sudden botching it. So I like that she took her time applying and executing the sliced bread. So when it comes to her in-ring ability, she's still really green. I think she has that touch, that good thing that she has going of being that total diva, like a Dana Brooke-ish kind of thing, where, she gets that reaction, but it's still the wrong reaction. I want to see her gain a little bit more character development and also work on her in-ring ability. Again, I'm not 100% sold on her, maybe a bit of a quarter, but like I said, and I'll repeat it over and over and over until Eva Marie finally, becomes the greatest wrestler, which I'm not even sure if she'll be that. But like I said, there's always room for improvement. It almost feels like she doesn't really want to be there, when she's maybe cutting a promo or wrestling in the ring. But hopefully in the weeks to come that she'll get better. And then we get into a match between Baron Corbin and some jobber that looked like a purple Power Ranger. And this was a blink you missed it 5-second match. Baron Corbin wins with the end of days. And I like that, for some reason, I'm now interested in Baron Corbin since this video package that we got last week. And I hope that this transition from Baron Corbin actually goes somewhere. And later on, we had a match between Samoa Joe and Mike Rallis, in which Samoa Joe goes over in an enhancement match, and we find out that Samoa Joe will be taking on Rhino in 2 weeks on NXT, and it seems like that there's going to be some parallels connected. I don't know if anyone's getting this, but I get the feeling that NXT is setting up a potential match between Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe because of the fact that not only is Samoa Joe facing Rhino in 2 weeks on NXT, but remember that Baron Corbin faced Rhino at the last 2-hour special event, so like I said, the parallels are starting to connect. It's really interesting to see if NXT is even going to go there, but I'm surprised that they dropped the whole thing with Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. I was hoping they would actually go somewhere with that. I'm kind of disappointed in that area. But I hope that they do something involving Baron Corbin working a match with a Samoa Joe at the next 2-hour special event in Brooklyn. And then we get into the second Divas match of the night, and that was Bayley going one-on-one with Emma with Dana Brooke at ringside. And I thought this match was okay. It wasn't really anything out of the ordinary, nothing really special that really stood out in this match. It was just a predictable match where you kind of knew that Bayley was going to end up going over in this match because of her big comeback, and now that, having her win this match, solidifies that she is back and ready to, get in there with the Divas. But there are some issues I had with this match that I thought were why. For example, if Bayley really wanted the revenge on Emma, why did she, wave at the crowd as she was making her entrance and hugging that kid at ringside, instead of maybe actually running out to the ring and wanting her revenge on Emma? And on top of that, why didn't she go for Emma's hand to maybe try to break her hand? Have some poetic justice. And even the finish of the match where they had made Dana Brooke look really stupid and cost Emma the match. The referee never disqualified in that part when he actually saw it happening. Instead, he escorts Dana Brooke. I guess the reason why they done it is because they wanted Bayley to pin Emma 1, 2, 3 to get her revenge, so to speak. These were some issues I had that I thought, weren't really necessary. But, the good thing that came out of it was Bayley winning this match. I like it, and I think that her momentum is on her side now, and I like that there's a story going on with her, and her road to redemption to being the NXT Women's Champion. And she cuts a promo right after and says that if I wanted to be NXT Champion, I have to work with the very best. And I like that she's starting off with Charlotte and not Sasha Banks because of that step-by-step process. You don't just come back and end up being rushed into a title match against Sasha Banks. You want to take your time. So I think that was smart on the part of Bayley, wanting to challenge someone who has already been beaten by the new NXT champion, that is Sasha Banks. So I like it. I like that NXT now is starting to build up Bayley. On a side note, I wanted to talk about, that there's seeds been planted on this possible split up. We saw that backstage interview before this match even happened with Emma and Dana Brooke, where they kind of hug, and Dana Brooke has some sort of look in her face that maybe one day that, I'll split off with Emma. And based on the end result of this match, again, kind of plants the seeds of a possible split up with Emma and Dana Brooke. And I think if that's the case, I think maybe Emma should go back being a babyface and help Dana Brooke out, when it comes to her in-ring abilities. So maybe something like that could happen. And also, it seems like now we're going to get a match between Charlotte and Dana Brooke somewhere down the road. I don't know if this is going to come before or after the match that Charlotte's going to have with Bayley. I think what should happen is that the match between Bayley and Charlotte should happen first, because I would like to see Dana Brooke maybe cost Charlotte the match there, and that will enhance their feud maybe at the next 2-hour special event in Brooklyn, and in the same time building up Bayley as the next #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. I think the parallels with the Divas this week on NXT are working pretty well, and I hope more in the weeks to come with the Divas right here on NXT. And now we get into the tag team match that happened on NXT, and that was the Vaudevillains taking on Angelo Dawkins and Sawyer Fulton. And again, this is an enhancement match where the Vaudevillains go over here, and now they have momentum on their side heading into next week's NXT Tag Team Championship match against the champions Blake and Murphy. And I'm kind of left wondering why NXT is doing this next week as opposed to maybe NXT Takeover in Brooklyn. Maybe they have something bigger in mind for that show, because I feel like that Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy really do deserve, a shot at the NXT Championships. And what better way to have Enzo and Kaz maybe win in Brooklyn because, of the hometown field advantage. But going back to this segment here, I feel like that with momentum on the Vaudevillains side, it's just, again, another one of those moments where you say, are they losing to Blake and Murphy next week for the Tag Team Championships because of that cliched, the person or people that gets momentum ends up losing next week? Is that going to be the case, or is it going to be a case of the Vaudevillains being forced and rushed into being the next NXT Tag Team Champions like Blake and Murphy done when they faced Sin Cara and Kalisto? I'm just curious to see how NXT is going to book this match next week, and who they're going to have win or lose, and what's going to happen at the 2-hour special event when it comes to their tag team division. And now we get into the final segment, the main event on NXT this week, and that was the contract signing involving Kevin Owens and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship in Brooklyn in 4 weeks on NXT TakeOver. And what I like about the NXT Championship picture this week is that the NXT title match is getting 2 segments on the show this week, because to me that really shows importance, and it really values the NXT Championship as a title. So I really like that they really emphasize and give importance to the main event for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Championship. That's what I really like about this contract signing. And again, it's one of those contract signings that you've seen it all before. It was very predictable, felt really simple and safe. Again, it was really by the numbers. We had Kevin Owens come out, you had Finn Balor come out, Kevin Owens cuts his promo, Finn Balor cuts his promo, and then and then they both sign the contract, and then Kevin Owens proceeds to flip the table over and attack Finn Balor. And he also hits William Regal as well. That kind of leaves the opening of a possible subplot. Maybe William Regal will lace up his boots again and wrestle against Kevin Owens down the road, maybe to build up this championship match, just as a side gig. But overall, even though this was a really cliched contract signing that you've seen before, at least they're giving the NXT Championship a lot of importance, and it values the NXT Championship. So that's what I really like about this last segment. And overall, how would I describe this episode of NXT? It was okay. It was a good start, to get on the road to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I hope as the weeks to come that the shows get more and more exciting with the build-up and the tension. heading into the next 2-hour special event, and that is NXT Takeover in Brooklyn. And if you saw NXT this week, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave those comments right here in the comment section below. And you can also hit that subscribe button down below this video as well to become an MRBer on this wrestling review show.